diagnosed with a rare genetic mutation. It means that they feel virtually no pain or anxiety.
Can you imagine? Jo Cameron only realised she was one of those people and was different just a couple of years ago. It's hoped now that her experience can help contribute to research on pain relief. And Jo joins us now. Good morning to you. We also have John Wood, who's a professor in pain genetics, who is in our London newsroom. Good morning to you too.
Good morning.
Jo, tell us your story. What's happened? So just a couple of years ago, how old are you now?
I'm 71 now.
71 now.
Yes,
71 now. So
I'm 65. I just retired from work, and I had a recurring problem with my hip. No pain, but my daughter noticed that I was walking peculiarly, and
limping.
well, not limping, just that my gait had changed, and every now and again my hips seemed to go down, and I put up with it for quite a while, and I was persuaded to go to the GP. I went to the GP, and he said, well, you've obviously got arthritis. How much pain are you in? I said, well, no pain. No point in me referring you. They won't do anything unless you're in pain.
when you say you put up with it,
Well, I just carried on.
but what were you putting up with? Just kind
Well,
of...
I would walk. Well, first of all, my gait it wasn't tremendously different, but my daughter noticed it was a different gait. And we go for walks. I do my normal things, and every now and again there'd be a sort of, and my hip would go down, a jolt. And I thought, that's not normal. But it was nothing, and I just, because there was no pain involved, just thought, well, maybe something funny's happening. But the GP eventually, after about 2 years, referred me to hospital. And the first thing they said, well, before they did x-rays or anything, how far can you walk? And I said, well, until it just goes down. How much pain are you in? None. Well, I'm afraid we can't do anything until you get pain go away. And that happened 3 times. The third time, I think to put up with me, to get rid of me, I think they gave me an x-ray. And then when they saw my hip was in a dreadful state, they operated, and they couldn't understand why I had no pain.
Just to be clear on this pain thing, for example, so say if I have a scalding hot mug of tea or soup or something here, and to the point where I can't hold it, I have to instantly drop it. If I were to hand it to you,
I would hold it.
And so you could actually be, say if it were a frying pan or something, it could be dangerously hot.
It is.
And you would be able to just hold on and feel nothing.
I'll show you this. This is my recent thing. I was carrying, because I drink black coffee, and I was carrying a cup of really scalding hot coffee upstairs, and I had a thick sweater on. And I think I must have spilt some onto my sleeve. Hadn't realised that I had. I never felt it felt wet.
You can see just here, isn't it?
This is about a month into it. And I didn't realise until I took my sweater off in the evening that I'd badly scalded my hand. I hadn't just scalded it, the sweater had kept the heat on my arm, so it was quite an intense burn. I hadn't noticed it. That's happened. I have a ray burn at home, and I quite often am cooking and put my arm across it and don't realise I burnt myself until I can smell. Yeah, until I smell, burning flesh. And because the house is a vegan household, burning flesh is an obvious. That isn't a joke. That's not a joke.
No, absolutely. Let's go to the professor, Professor John Wood. Now, I mean, there is a huge curiosity in people hearing Jo recount that. As a scientist, what have you learned about the possible cause?
Well, it's a very exciting story. I think Jo's experiences show how useful pain is in protecting us from self-harm. But what we found is actually a new genetic mechanism that seems to be able to regulate pain thresholds. And what we hope to do in the future is exploit this knowledge to perhaps develop new treatments for the millions of people that suffer ongoing chronic pain, which is different from the acute pain that Jo's been describing, but which is a massive clinical problem. About 7% of the population endure just appalling pain. And I expect you followed the news about the opioid crisis in the United States. There's a pressing need for new treatments. And Jo's unique condition and the genetic mechanisms that underpin it give us clues as to how we can develop new ways to make pain drugs.
And of course, if you say this is genetic, so you would be trying to change our genetics. How would that work if it's not pharmaceutical, if you see what I mean?
Well, this is a very good point. So this work, by the way, was carried out by a brilliant geneticist called Dr Cox. And what is becoming more mainstream now is the technique of gene therapy. So you can actually manipulate genes in people by delivering modified genes with viruses. And this kind of technology is being used in things like epilepsy, and it has huge potential in treating pain. So there have been enormous efforts to make pills that will block pain, and there have been tremendous failures. Most of the pharmaceutical industry have bailed out of pain research because of these very expensive failures. So we're banking on using gene therapy in the near future, perhaps to mimic the kind of condition that Joe has, and have a completely new approach.
Yeah, Professor, thank you. Joe, can we just pick up on a couple of things? Because people were wondering, I mean, when was the last time you remember feeling pain? Has it just always been...
I can't. The thing is...
As a child?
Well, as a child, when I was about 8, apparently, I fell. I remember this. I fell and just bumped my arm, and that was it. And I didn't realise I'd broken my arm, and 2 days later, my mother noticed my arm was in a funny position. And I said to her husband, I'd broken my arm. I didn't have anything, so I obviously couldn't feel pain then. I don't remember ever feeling pain, but the thing is, that's me, and you don't question how you are. You're just you, and as you're you, I just thought, well, maybe I haven't. People talk about pain. Maybe I haven't been ill. I'm very healthy, you know. So that's why I don't feel pain.
The other way this applies as well is in terms of anxiety. So you don't ever feel anxious, panicked about anything.
I drive people mad because
you've been in a car accident, haven't you, and not felt that fear or anxiety?
When I'm in a car with other people, quite often if they're driving, you know, if somebody is a near miss, they talk about having an adrenaline rush, which obviously I've been told heightens your awareness of what's going on. I don't get that.
So your personality is well, not personality. I suppose your level of content is
just yes, which I'm just even, and I'm not cold, you know, I'm emotional, but on the other hand, I don't, this thing called an adrenaline rush, I've never had it. I hear about it quite often because people say, wow, that gave me an...
So have you been on a roller coaster?
No, I'm not good at, I don't like the idea they make me feel sick, but I don't get not a fear, it's just sickness. I don't like that kind of thing. But no, it's people are asking me questions now that I have to think about because it never dawned on me until on Tuesday when people started asking me questions about this.
Professor, it is a curious thing, isn't it? I mean, Joe explains it absolutely perfectly. The thing where you feel no pain, and yet at the same time, you know, emotion. There's clearly an emotional element to this, which is caught up in some of the gene work you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. What's very exciting about Joe's condition is that she has high levels of endocannabinoids. So these are molecules that are a bit like the active ingredients in cannabis. I expect you followed the increasing use of cannabis in treating pain. And also, there's obviously a euphoric quality to these drugs. So Joe has got some kind of metabolism that actually mimics aspects of cannabis use. And that's one of the ways in which the pain has been controlled.
Professor, thank
very
you.
exciting.
It's been very good talking to you. Joe just said to us here, she said, I'm just stupidly happy. But you know what? I just think some people will be very envious of you, but along with it, as you well described, is real risk.
Well, I will say one thing. I mean, you've got 3 children, haven't you?
No, 2.
2 children. I apologise. You've 2 children.
Yeah.
Natural childbirth.
Yes. But you see, I was talking to my husband about it today, and I said, do you remember me saying to you after, you know, when I had my children, I was waiting. I knew you have pain. People talked about it, and they kept asking me if I wanted it. And I said, when the pain comes, when it becomes unbearable, I'll have it. But it never happened. So I was expecting to have pain, whatever pain was, because people talk about how excruciating childbirth is. Yes. So I went into it thinking, I'll ask when I need it, and I never needed it, so I didn't ask.
It's an extraordinary, it really is the most extraordinary story.
Fascinating.
And thank you so much for explaining. You have explained it, but you know, very well.
And also keep well. Keep well.
I'm very healthy.
Be careful.
Oh, I do. My husband watches me like all the time now to make sure I don't. But I still burn myself and cut myself. It looks as if he knocks me around because I've got bruises everywhere.
Glad to say he doesn't. That's good. Joe, no, he doesn't.
Normally we say to guests as they're leaving that we said just be careful on the step as you go out.
Don't need to worry. Don't need to worry. Professor
It's been
John Wood, it's been an absolute joy talking to you as well. Thank you for explaining it so clearly as well, the genetics involved. Joe, thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's just coming up to 7:50 the time.
Hal, have you heard anything like